We are awaiting a news conference from Congressman Jim Jordan in just under an hour ahead of an expected third round of voting for the next House Speaker. This is as tensions are escalating among the Republicans over the standoff. It has really gotten crazy. Jordan has been vowing to stay in the Speaker's race, though he did back the idea of expanding interim Speaker Patrick McHenry's powers just temporarily. But many Republicans are slamming the option.
We should not go empowering a speaker pro tem for 90 days, which is what they were talking about doing into the next session in January, without doing our job to choose the speaker. It raises serious constitutional questions.
This conference is absolutely broken, and the reason why we're broken is because Republicans worked with Democrats and put us here. It's outrageous.
Man, let's bring in White House columnist for The Hill, Niall Stanage. Niall, what should we make of the timing of this news conference now? I mean, it seems like every day there's some new development. It seems like something is going to happen, and then nothing happens. But this comes after the blow-up among GOP members that we saw yesterday. What do you think we should expect in about 45 minutes?
Well, I think the key thing, Brian, is that the tide seems to be going out on the idea of a Jim Jordan speakership. Initially, 20 Republicans opposed him. Then that went up to 22 on Wednesday. Then yesterday, a vote was kind of pulled. There was no possibility of having a vote for Speaker. And the opponents of Mr. Jordan inside the Republican conference don't seem like they're yielding. So the question about the press conference is, does he come out pugnaciously saying, I'm going to grind on? Or does he prove more receptive to the argument of some colleagues who say, he's not going to get there. He's not going to reach the magic number. It's time to look for someone else.
Does the president's press conference last night have any impact on this, Niall? I mean, he's now going to be asking for the $100 billion. You know, you'd hope that with everything going on in the world, Congress would be thinking to themselves, man, we got to get this together. Like, there are serious issues right now happening. But, I mean, based on what we've seen, it doesn't seem like they necessarily really care.
Right. I mean, I think a lot of people have the hope that you expressed. Unfortunately, in Washington right now, there's quite a wide gap between hope and reality. And so in this instance, yes, there is obviously very pressing business, both at home and abroad. You mentioned Israel. There's the war in Ukraine. There's also the reality that the government will shut down unless there is action taken before November 17th. So all of that ratchets up pressure on Republicans to get a speaker. The difficulty is there are just so many divisions within that conference. Some of it's personal enmity, some of it's policy, some is ill feeling about the way Kevin McCarthy was ousted as speaker. And so bringing that conference together is a really, really difficult task.
It seems like, I mean, there were these reports of a shouting match between former Speaker Kevin McCarthy and Congressman Matt Gaetz in a closed-door meeting. McCarthy even publicly admitted that he told Gaetz to sit down. I'm just wondering, like, what if Republican lawmakers can't agree on a speaker? Like, could this just go on and on and on for weeks and weeks? What would happen next?
Well, that is the danger, and that's the danger that they were thinking about trying to avert by expanding Patrick McHenry's power as a temporary speaker. That proposal, as you noted in the introduction, didn't go anywhere. So right now, we're stuck. It's in limbo. There's no immediately obvious escape hatch from this situation that we're in. And the assumption, I think, is that eventually Republicans will feel such political pressure that they'll have to coalesce around someone. There's an old saying, Brian, that people don't see the light until they feel the heat. And I imagine the heat will continue to intensify the longer this chaos goes on.
Yeah, and people who are already frustrated with Congress are just looking at this like it's a joke, especially with the speaker. I mean, normally third in line to the president. Is a temporary speaker still that level of power? I mean, would they still be third in line?
We think not. Now, we are in uncharted waters, uncharted waters yet again, which we seem to have been in quite a lot recently in Congress. But as far as we know, a speaker pro tempore is not in the line of succession to the presidency, which would mean that it would then transfer. Third in line would be the president of the Senate, which is Senator Patty Murray, a Democrat from Washington State.
Interesting, uncharted territory. We'll be watching this press conference about 45 minutes from now with Jim Jordan. Niall, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.